Hi everyone, it's Cheryl here. Today is March 26, 2023, and today I would like to talk a little bit about astrology and the ingress of Pluto into Aquarius. So this took place on March 23rd, and this is the first dipping of Pluto's toes into Aquarius. It's going to go back and forth a little bit over the next year or so, with some retrograde motion and going back and forth from Aquarius to Capricorn and back into Aquarius. And then it finally will stay in Aquarius, I believe, in 2024. I have the date written down as November 20th. It makes its final stay in Aquarius. So, what that means for individuals will vary because depending on where your chart has, you know, certain influences taking place in your chart, whether Pluto is transiting a particular house or whether it's making angles or aspects to certain planets in your chart, it will be colored slightly different for everybody. However, on a larger scale, because Pluto moves so slowly and has a very um, long duration to go around the zodiac, it takes about 245, 250 years to make its way back to the same point again. So the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was in the 1700s, I believe 1778, and that lasted for 20 years up until 1798. And during that time, there were some significant historical events. We had the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We had the American Revolution, French Revolution, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So there were a lot of things that were triggered by Pluto being in Aquarius at that time. And prior to that, Pluto was in Aquarius in, I believe, 1523 to 1540 something. And that was during the time of the Reformation of the Church. So during the time of Henry VIII. So there were significant things taking place on a society level when Pluto was entering into a new sign. I've watched this. I've been an astrologer practicing astrologer for over 40 years, so since the 70s, and observing what's happening with Pluto going through the different signs. So just as a little slight historical view, looking at Pluto going through, say, as an example, through Scorpio, that was during a time when we were looking at sexuality in a different way. Society was changing its views on sexuality, becoming a little more free. It was also the time of the discovery of AIDS and sexually transmitted diseases. When Pluto was going through Sagittarius, there was a lot of changes and transformations taking place with how the world viewed different cultures and different religions and different belief systems. And we had a lot of changes happening with that as well, and being more accepting. But before that happens, when Pluto first enters a sign, it actually weeds out all the riffraff or the deep dark secrets or the things that aren't working with regard to that concept, and it sort of brings it out in the open to be discovered, and so all the darkness is revealed before it can regenerate and create that transformation. So as is the case with things like, sexually transmitted diseases, and then finding ways of dealing with that and coming to terms with it and finding out ways for people to protect themselves and to have safer sex and to have things working in a better way. And so with the entrance of Pluto into Aquarius is the sign that is connected to humanitarian concepts, roots concepts, communal concepts, as well as technology. So we may be seeing some massive transformations taking place in the next 20 years with regard to transformation and technology in all kinds of ways that can be taking place. And who knows what that will look like? It could be really extreme, maybe even something that we haven't even thought of yet. But the dark side of it is being revealed, all the corruption, all the control, all of the things that are going on with, social media and some of the censorship, and all of that is sort of the beginnings of the corruption and revealing the things that are not working with technology, the things that are going sideways, how elections are being manipulated with ballots and advanced voting and various technologies that are being used for that. So all the corruption and the darkness of those kind of things are coming to the surface so that they can be transformed. And so Pluto, when it's in your own personal chart, whatever the transits are, it is usually a transit that will not force you to have change, but really it's a very powerful influence. And the synchronicity of that is that it is time for change. And you can resist it or you can go with the flow of it. And if you resist it, it will make your life certainly more challenging and harder. Whereas if you go with the flow of it and allow the transformation to happen, you can embrace it and it will flow much easier. So I'm just bringing this up because I've had several clients who've gone through, some big changes in their life with regard to relationships, but it can affect any part of your life, really, depending on your own personal birth chart. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, I do personal consultations with astrology and transits, and I provide a comprehensive package for that. I offer a graphing system that charts all of the time periods on a graph so that you can see where the overlap is with other transits that are taking place. And, timing mechanisms are all itemized on this graph. I provide a report that corresponds to the graph. And it's a very comprehensive package, as well as doing a consultation with that information. So if there's anything that needs clarification, I can certainly help with that. But Pluto is going to, and I've got some notes here, so I'm just going to sort of go through it really quickly here. So basically, Pluto went into Aquarius on March 23rd, which was just this past week, and it will stay there for a little while. Pluto goes retrograde on May 1, and so Pluto will go back into Capricorn on June 11th, and it will go direct on October 10th of this year, and then it will move back into Aquarius on January 22nd of 24, and then goes retrograde May 2nd, and goes back into Capricorn on September 2nd of 2024, moves direct again in October, on October 11th, and then Pluto will make its final stay in Aquarius on November 20th of 2024. And it will stay in Aquarius until March 10th of 2043. So generally speaking, Pluto stays in a sign for 15 to 20 years, depending on the speed it's traveling at that particular time. Because of the elliptical orbit, the speed is not consistent. It's not just a circular motion that's consistent. And so with Pluto's energy, we're always looking at sort of a breakdown, kind of a destructive or dying off of something that's no longer useful, and then a regeneration or well, not really restructuring, but a regeneration of whatever that subject is. And so the other thing that Pluto is also connected with, because I've studied medical astrology as well, is Pluto has to do with cellular renewal and health issues connected with deterioration. And depending on where that sits in your chart, it could be triggering some serious diseases that are maybe challenging you to, come close to the edge of survival. And that's also coming into play in your chart. And if it's shifting signs, that could also be an influence depending on where it is in your chart. And so, we have to be open to embracing some of these changes, as well as being open to shedding the things that aren't working anymore. Just like a snake will shed its skin, we need to be prepared to let go of things that just aren't useful. And society is going to be doing that as it changes signs. When Pluto was in Capricorn, we had a transformation take place in the last, I'm just looking at my notes, I believe Pluto had been in Capricorn since 2008. So we're looking at quite a while of transformation that took place within government, corporations, big business, and a variety of things. Hi, Cheryl here. I had a little bit of a disruption and had to restart the video again. My apologies, but anyway, so I was talking about Pluto in Capricorn and how we've had that since 2008. And that reflects on transformation in government, transformation in corporations, large corporations, global corporations, big business. And so we've seen those kind of changes taking place globally. Things like, all of the controversy with the most recent couple of years and some of the corruption within some of the organizations like the WHO, the WEF, the pharmaceutical regulatory agencies, various corruptions that were taking place with experimental drugs in third world countries. Those kind of things are all Pluto and Capricorn related. And so again, it's like the last little weeding out of some of these things that aren't working anymore, things that aren't working well, and things that need to be transformed. And with Pluto moving into Aquarius, there's a resurgence of things like getting back into gardening and food preservation and communal living and tiny homes and things of, people coming together and buying locally grown produce and supporting local farmers. And those are all Aquarian concepts. And with Pluto going into Aquarius, we see this resurgence of these concepts because they do help the masses. And Aquarius has to do with that. It's about personal freedoms, it's about um, allowing people to all have certain basic things, and to be supportive of each other. And that communal concept of, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll be doing more bartering, or maybe we'll. But it's refreshing to see supporting more of the local farm um, production, and to, that helps people in so many ways, and it helps the local economy to grow, and it also helps people to interact more, and not just go to a big box store and just find food on a shelf, and who knows how it's been processed and what quality it is, and to go to the markets and to talk to people and to share their stories and how that was grown and how they practice their organic gardening, and sharing information about how they're doing things, and being supportive of all that. Those are all Aquarian concepts. So we're seeing this starting already, and weeding out the corruption of the large corporations and the big government and big business, and that kind of thing is going to be definitely weeded out. And this resurgence of getting back to the land and helping people and helping each other and being supportive, those are things that we're going to be accessing more of while Pluto is going through Aquarius. And then, of course, too, like I mentioned previously, we're looking at the potential for transformation and changes taking place with technology. Again, we've had a lot of corruption with that, and things that aren't working well, and seeing it maybe being elevated to a much more supportive level for the benefit of all. Anyway, I wanted to share that information with you today. I thought it was very timely, seeing as how I'm seeing clients going through some massive transformations that coincidentally happened like right around the 23rd, when Pluto made that first dip in Aquarius, and we've got significant changes underway, and this is going to be an exciting time, and I think that it'll be good. It'll be something to look forward to, even though there might be some growing pains along the way. Ultimately, it will be beneficial for us all. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have a great day.